day has been a long time coming. A long time coming. I'm Attorney Ben Crump, along with Attorney Harry Daniels and Attorney Sue Ann Robinson and Attorney Gabrielle Higgins and Georgia NAACP President Griggs. We have the honor of representing the family of Leonard Kier. We have his sisters and brothers present with us, Tina, Maria, his brothers, Wallace and Michael, and most importantly, we have his mama, Mary. This is her day. She has fought for justice for her son his whole life, and she's been fighting for justice after they killed him. And she will not stop until we get justice for Leonard Kier. I'm so happy, Miss Mary, because I know how long you fought for your baby to get some measure of justice.
Well, a lot of people think that it just happened after he was killed, but we had 16 and a half years of him being incarcerated for false conviction. So it started a long time ago. Yes, ma'am.
And she said she'd been fighting even when he was wrongfully incarcerated for 16 and a half years.
All right, okay.
And so we should start there. We want to thank the Innocence Project. I have the pleasure of being on their board with Seth Miller, Barry Scheck, and so many other great lawyers who fight for people who have been wrongfully convicted. And many of them because they happen to be a certain color and be in the wrong place at the wrong time, which was absolutely what happened to Mary's son Leonard in Broward County, Florida. And Attorney Daniels is so mind-boggling. From day one, Leonard said, you got the wrong person. You got the wrong person. I got proof. I got exculpatory evidence that can prove it's the wrong person. He had pictures of him at an ATM with the PIN number that he put in, and they still put this black man in prison for 16 and a half years. And 16 and a half years when everybody was giving up on Leonard. It was his sisters and brothers and his mother, Mary, who never gave up on him. And this is about their day. This is their day because this family has fought so hard for simple justice. The fact that when they finally got him exonerated, and then the Florida legislature finally passed a compensation package for him. He had just bought a home in Atlanta, Georgia. He's coming back on the highway here and on I-95. Camden County Sheriff's Deputy, Buck Aldridge, the person who the Department of Justice indicted on 13 counts, Attorney Daniels? 13 counts. 13 counts of all kinds of misconduct and violation of civil rights. Killed her baby. Killed her baby. You saw the video. And there were other videos that existed of Buck Aldridge engaging in excessive use of force, mainly against black people. And finally, his day has come. You know, some would call it poetic justice. The fact that Buck Aldridge, who killed her son after being wrongfully convicted of 16 and a half years, wouldn't it be poetic justice if he was convicted and got sentenced to 16 and a half years?
Yes, would be.
We intend to make sure that his mother and their family get full justice, not just partial justice, As you all know, Attorney Daniels and I filed a $16 million lawsuit representing every year that he was wrongfully convicted for this police officer, this Camden County Sheriff's deputy, being charged with these 13 these counts. But because he killed him on the side of that road, and we don't want to let them sweep it under the rug. We don't want to let them say that Leonard Kier life didn't matter. They quickly try to paint us as criminals, as thugs, as nefarious. Well, the truth of the matter is Leonard was wrongfully convicted. But we believe when a jury convicts Buck Aldrich, it will be a rightful conviction for not only Leonard, but so many other citizens here in Camden County who had to deal with that abuse. Miss Mary fought so hard to try to get justice for her son while he was alive. We pray that she will be able to get justice for him in his death, his wrongful death. And we stand with you, Miss Mary, and I know sometimes you think when you're by yourself about Leonard and why he had to go through this. Well, God is using Leonard for a testimony for all those other sisters and brothers who continue to say we were wrongfully convicted, to not give up. Leonard never gave up, and you never gave up. And so this is your day, Miss Mary. This is your day. At this time, you're going to hear from my great co-counsel, Attorney Harry Daniels, who has a long history of bringing constitutional challenges here against the Camden County Sheriff's Department. And he's going to make it plain. And after Attorney Daniels speaks, you're going to hear from some of the family members, and then you will hear from Miss Mary Kier. And then we will take your questions. But make no mistake about it. The federal prosecutors brought the charge, but this is a praying mama, and this day happened because of Mary Kier. Justice for Leonard Kier.
Justice for Leonard Kier.
Thank you, Ben. You know, it's fitting that we're in the house of the Lord. The Bible says you reap what you sow. And Buck Aldrich sowed a lot of discord, a lot of unlawful use of force, violence, lies. You see, when the indictment came out, and we're aware that the indictment doesn't address Leonard directly, but you know, Leonard Kier case shine a light on these injustices of the things that happened before he was hired at the Camden County Sheriff Office, the things that happened while he was at the Camden County Sheriff Office. And our lawsuit, although we're in litigation, speaks directly to those things. One, talking about the propensity of violence that he had. I can't help but to think about when Leonard was pulled over and the indicted, and I'm gonna call him the indicted, and Leonard asked him, well, if I was speeding, just give me a ticket. But Buck Aldrich didn't want to just give him a ticket. He wanted to do what he's done in the past. He wanted to use that taser. He wanted to be violent as such, and it led to the death of Leonard. Now, we're not going to get details in the particulars of this lawsuit. Like I said, we're in litigation. But be mindful, be very mindful that the Kier family, it was the driving force of Buck Aldrich indictment.
Amen.
Let me repeat that what happened to Leonard was a driving force for so many who've been terrorized by this so-called deputy. And Ben, if I'm not mistaken, he was a sergeant at the Camden County Sheriff Office. See, we have history with the Camden County Sheriff Office, with the former Sheriff Proctor. Is it Proctor? Yes, sir. where they beat a man inside a jail cell. And that one of those deputies, well, it's fitting now, he's an inmate now. One of those deputies was recently sent to federal prison for 13 months. But here's the thing. Jared Hobbs was charged with multiple felonies. Even though the president of the NAACP, Tim Besser, who's not here, went to the sheriff and asked what's going on. And he allowed these false reports. And I echo false reports because Buck Ulrich was indicted for making false reports. 9 counts that carried to 20 years in the federal penitentiary. He allowed these false reports to move forward in the Jared Hobbs case, but not until a defense attorney get in contact with us and we see the video and we know what really happened to Jared Hobbs. You got another young lady, a grandmother who was drug out of a car, head slammed while handcuffed into the hood of a police car. And the officer who committed the act was later indicted. But before she was indicted, she was promoted and given Officer of the Year. That's a problem. That's an epidemic. Buck Ulrich was on the streets because of that problem. Because the sheriff did not have accountability for his officers. So he was allowed to roam and do the things he did, which led him to Leonard Kier. We are here standing with his family. And, you know, I had a case, this case reminded me of a case I had in Jacksonville about an officer named Jose Garriga. I know y'all Jacksonville people, y'all know who I'm talking about. He was accused of killing Jamie Johnson, beating other people, and killing other folks. And he kept getting away with it. But like I said before, you reap what you sow. And we believe that it is time, and the time is now, that Buck Ulrich, anybody else, has been placed on notice, and I always say this, Ben, no matter where a badge, shield, or star. Accountability is for all. With that being said, who we bringing up next?
That's Brian Wallace. Let me say this here,
Okay.
because it's important to know, as Attorney Daniels talked about the pattern and practice. You all remember when the local district attorney announced that he was not going to bring charges against Buck Aldrich for killing Leonard Kier. We then said, but look at his history. And we showed a video. Attorney Daniels and I, y'all remember, family released a video. NAACP representative.
Raymond Cash.
Yeah, Alfonso Daniels. We released a video of another young black man being brutally beaten and tased and stomped on.
And that's a part of the indictment.
And that is in the indictment. And, you know, the local district attorney had access to all of this video and evidence, just like the federal prosecutors. But if we wouldn't have been persistent in trying to expose the corruption, seemed like the sheriff was just fine with it. They were just fine with violating the constitutional rights of citizens, violating the civil rights of citizens, brutalizing citizens. And so I'm so thankful to Attorney Daniels, Alfonso McClendon, and NAACP Attorney Robinson, because we have to document this stuff. We keep having to show America a mirror and say, look at the hypocrisy. Look at the two justice systems. Two justice systems where Leonard Kier can be completely innocent and go to prison for 16 and a half years. And people who, because they have a gun and a badge, can commit crime after crime and nothing happened. So we continue to hold that mirror up to America's face. And hopefully in that mirror, America, you see the face of Leonard Kier. Yes. Wallace Kier, his brother.
I'd like to thank Ben Crump and all the folks that assist him and work with him in seeking justice for my brother Leonard. I'd like to thank the pastor, Pastor Wright, for allowing us this venue to express ourselves and to seek justice for my brother.
Yes, sir.
My brother was a gentle person. He loved to dance. He graduated from Miami Central High. He played running back for the Central Rockets. He was gentle with us. He was gentle with his nieces and his nephews. I thank God for a praying mom who never gave up on any of her children. Having said that, I would like to further say that Sheriff Proctor needs to be held accountable just as much as Buck Aldridge.
Wow.
Because it's his responsibility to know who he's hiring. There is no way that this officer could get fired and all these reprimands and write-ups and the hiring sheriff does not know. If you employ someone, it is your responsibility to do a background check and to make sure and vet them. This was a loose cannon, a rogue cop. In addition to that, I'd like to say that the district attorney, Higgins, needs to grow a spine. If you're going to represent justice, let it be justice for all. It could be for the street pharmacist as well as it should be for the person standing behind the badge, wearing the shield. It has to be distributed equally. Serve all the people that you represent. Grow a spine.
Thank you very much, Wallace. Michael?
Today is a good day. Thanks to the Department of Justice, a corrupt murderer is off the streets. This means that other families will be spared the heartache and pain that our family has been forced to endure. The corruption that permeates police agencies in America is atrocious. A corrupt police department took our brother and our mother's son for 16 years. Now this corrupt police department has taken him permanently. Wow. Please understand that corruption did not start with Buck, but it was definitely tolerated by him and his corrupt colleagues. And you need to know that what you tolerate, you cannot change. So yesterday, the Department of Justice decided that this individual's corruption must be stopped. Hopefully justice will be served and he will be sent to prison for his corrupt deeds. And it will set a precedent for his department and other departments across this country that this nonsense and this type of behavior will not be tolerated. Justice for Leonard Kier.
Justice for Leonard Kier. Any one of you? You sure? You sure? His sisters have been a little shy. Okay. So, you know, Attorney Daniels, I still remember meeting Leonard Kier when we had one of the Innocence Project's exoneration galas. He talked so enthusiastically about saying, don't give up. If you're innocent and you did nothing wrong, don't lie on yourself. And it was so heartbreaking when Seth Miller, who is the director of the Innocence Project for the state of Florida, and Miss Mary called me to say that Leonard had been killed because we had just celebrated his exoneration and his freedom. We had celebrated the Florida legislature saying that he deserves some compensation for the willful conviction by the Broward County's district attorney's office, and that we were celebrating he was starting his new life. And so it was just so heartbreaking to hear this mother crying about how they killed him. They stole him from me, and now they killed him. And she was has just never given up on the fact that God was going to get her justice. And so, Miss Mary, we say again, this is your day. This is your day, and we're so proud to stand with you. You all, Mary Kier, the mother of Leonard Kier.
Good afternoon, media. So glad you guys could be here. I'd like to say thanks to the pastor for allowing us to have this venue. Proud of my sons for representing. Proud of the attorneys that we have and the people that follow them and assist them. And I want you to know a few things about Leonard. Leonard was a very proud, spiritual person. He was not a liar. And one of the things that bothered him the most was if he was called a liar, he would do everything in his power to prove that he was telling the truth. But in this journey that he and I had together, it was long, it was tedious, and it was very painful. Because for every door that closed on him, that meant that I would be behind that door too. So half of me was behind the door, the other half was out the door. So I've got 8 children. So a lot of my time is dedicated to him. So my other children didn't have me, but they understood that I would give my life for my son, knowing that he was right. And I will continue to fight for him. This is just a starting point. Unfortunately, it's been my, God's choosing rather, that I should stand here, and it's my son whom I weep over. But his death is going to help a lot of people. That is my prayer, that it will help a lot of people not to have to stand here where I'm standing, shed another tear. I walked the floor many nights. A lot of people say he'll never get out of jail. When I went to see him, one of the hardest things that hurt me so much was every month they get a letter, an accounting of their progress. On those progress reports is 999, which means that you're never going to get out of here. You'll die. So he collected those, and I kept them. And I died every time I read them, every time. But I told him each time I left the prison, one day I'm going to come back and I'm going to take you home. One day. So I walked the floors and I cried. I did research. I helped with his 2254. I did a lot of things for him because we ran out of money. And nobody wanted to help. No one wanted to help. The family, we were penniless by now because legal representation, good legal representation is quite costly, but it's so worth it. I know because I put in a lot of hours and I'm not an attorney. So what I began doing, I used to make notes to God all the time, but when Lenny went to prison, I started to write God a letter every month. And I still do it. On those letters, I tell him how my heart breaks. But I tell him mostly, please, God, do not let me be bitter. Don't let me hate this person. I don't know why it happened, but I want you to know I have no animosity towards this person. In the beginning, I did, because he hijacked my faith for a moment. He put me in a place where I almost no longer wanted to believe in a fair and just God. How dare you tamper with my faith? Because if you want to know, I've been down some tough roads.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll bend, but I won't break. I've been around a long, long time. Trust this, I got what it takes. So, I am going to continue on this journey for my son, for the sons. God is listening and he hears all of this.
Yes.
So again, I want to thank my attorneys and all the people that aid and help them. And I want to thank the media for taking an interest in it. Listen, whether you are pro or anti, it doesn't matter. I'm not angry with you. I get a lot of messages on social media, which I don't read, but they come to me anyway. Hurtful things. But I can say this, you didn't know my son.
Yeah.
And you don't know me.
Yeah.
I don't do social media, and I really don't care what you think. What you think is your problem, not mine. Because I stand here today with a God that surrounds me, that backs me up, and my children, my soldiers, holding up the back. So I'm good to go. Bring it.
Amen.
Thank you.